Hello and welcome to this week's travel show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com. At the end of the show there'll be travel news, including a couple of stories about Heathrow Airport. Don't worry, I'm not going to go to the ins and outs of the third runway, but I still have a couple of stories for you anyway. And also some breaking news about Monarch and one of its destinations. But my main focus this week is on my two guests. Later on, we'll be hearing from Miles Porter, who's Head of Activities at Cycling for Softies, and we'll be talking about their cycling holidays. But my first guest is Sharon Bernstein, who's the General Manager UK and Ireland for the Grenada Tourism Authority. And yes, we're going to be talking about Grenada. If you've not heard of the destination before, well, of course, the first thing you want to know is, where is it? And that's the first question I put to Sharon.
We are in the Caribbean. One side of our beautiful island is the Caribbean Sea. One side is the Atlantic Ocean. We are really between Trinidad and Barbados, Trinidad, Tobago and Barbados. And we're pretty close. We're less than 200 miles from Venezuela.
I'm sure people picture Caribbean islands in their head, but what's Grenada really like?
Oh, we're a wonderful mountainous rainforest island. And to put it in perspective for your lovely British listeners, we are around the size of the Isle of Wight, but we have some beautiful mountains in the centre. So the majority of people live around the island, around the coastal areas. And then within the centre are tropical rainforests, wonderful crater lakes. The beauty of Grenada is that when you arrive on island, because we are known as the Spice Island and we are still a serious producer of nutmeg, that you can actually smell the scents of nutmeg and cinnamon and vanilla that grow on the island.
I'm just imagining the smell now as I step off.
Quite wonderful. It's a joy to get off that plane.
So how does the plane get there from the UK?
Oh, pretty simple. It's approximately a 10-hour journey. We have 4 flights a week from Gatwick Airport, 2 with British Airways and 2 with Virgin Atlantic. And through those flights, we do a stop currently in St. Lucia. But no one has to get off the plane. You just sit there and sip your drink. And 40, 50 minutes later, you take off again. And you then, half an hour later, you're in Grenada.
So it's not that far away then, even though it's quite low down.
No, absolutely not that far away at all.
It's getting a little bit chilly and foggy where I am now, but what's the weather like in Grenada?
Well, we are truly lucky because year-round we are a tropical island. So from my experience, and over the last 16 years, I've been there many times, the temperature is never really going to dip much below 24 degrees, and it's going to get up to early 30s. So a really wonderful respite from weather in the UK.
Is there a rainy season or dry season?
Well, as a holiday destination, we will tell the world that we are year-round. We will, because we are a rainforest mountainous island. There is what we call our wonderful liquid gold, which is our rain that keeps us beautifully green, and is really the reason why we have won over 10 gold medals at the Chelsea Flower Show. But the rainy season, as you know, called in the Caribbean, tends to be from September through to November. But frankly, you can get a shower any time of the year.
I remember being in the Caribbean and it rains and everybody gets out of the swimming pool. And I always wonder, why are you getting out of the swimming pool?
No one gets out of the swimming pool in Grenada. They all just stay in there and have another drink and enjoy themselves.
So what's the official language there?
English, absolutely English. It's part of the Commonwealth. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Grenada has, over many hundreds of years, changed hands between France and originally Spain and then the British. So English and the locals to one another, they speak a kind of patois, but never going to be a challenge getting understood in Grenada.
We're going to be understood okay, but what about the money? What's the official currency?
The official currency is Eastern Caribbean dollars, but like many Caribbean islands, they'd much prefer that all their guests brought US dollars. That keeps the island turning over. So US dollars preferred to sterling, and Eastern Caribbean dollars very much for small items in bars and perhaps a few gifts.
My least favourite topic when it comes to travel is jabs.
Oh, don't need any in Grenada.
Okay.
There are absolutely no official requirements for jabs to go down to the island. I think, it's like other things. If you have been to somewhere where you may have picked up an infection, then they may have expected you to have a jab, but there's no jabs required to go into Grenada.
You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com. If you notice any background noises during my chats with Sharon and Miles, some roadworks happened outside the studio and there was a lot of noise, which is unfortunate and very difficult for me to drown out. It was that close. It was only a few yards away from the window. But anyway, apologies for the background noise. Hopefully it won't spoil your enjoyment of the information you'll be receiving in any way. So later on, a story about which destination Monarch Airlines has dropped from its destination list for 2017. And we'll also be finding out about a company called Cycling for Softies. But at the moment I'm speaking to Sharon Bernstein about Grenada. The British passport is one of the most powerful passports in the world. If it's going to still be like that after Brexit, who knows? But anyway, if we have a British passport, are there any entry requirements to visiting Grenada?
Not if you have a British or European or Commonwealth passport. There is definitely no visa requirements.
It's the ideal location because of the smells and the weather. Does it make it a good place to get married?
It makes it a wonderful place to get married, and a couple of years ago we actually changed the law, so should you want to, you can actually get your documentation done in one day and actually get married on the second day of arrival. But what we tend to find is, most people want to come, they want to come with family, they want to relax for a little while, then get married, and then after they've got married they tend to stay for a wonderful honeymoon.
So if your partner's a flight risk, you can get it all done within one day and get married the next day.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You've mentioned relaxing a couple of times, and people generally like to do it on the beach. What are your beaches like?
Oh my gosh, I can't begin to tell you how beautiful our beaches are. I suppose the most famous beach on Grenada is Grenada Beach, which is a 2-mile stretch of white sand. It's just a joy. In fact, you'll find many Grenadians taking advantage of it as well, and that will be kind of quite early in the morning and late at night because it's only the British that are on the beach in the noonday sun, but we have many beaches. I have to say one of my favorites is La Sagesse, which is about 30-40 minutes from Grenada, and it's a very secluded little beach with a gorgeous beach bar, an absolute joy. But many, many beaches on the Caribbean side, which are all beautiful white sand beach. And then, of course, we have the black sand beaches of the Atlantic side, but we shouldn't really forget our sister island, Carriacou, and all of their beautiful beaches and their beautiful little island as well.
Is it easy to get to your sister island?
Yep, you can either fly, it's about a 7-minute flight, or you can go by ferry, and that's about an hour and 40 minutes.
7 minutes by flight, so it's a little bit too far to paddle then.
Yes, sadly it is.
It's only 7 minutes flight, as you already said, but when you get to Carriacou, what can you do?
Oh, well, we say Grenada is relaxed, but Carriacou is pretty much horizontal in terms of how relaxed it is. But what we would say is Carriacou's whole background is rather different from Grenada, and it continues its more African roots, almost more than Grenada. So it's got phenomenal diving around its shores. It's got really wonderful boat building that that you can actually go and see. Yeah, it's a very, very different atmosphere, in fact, than the main island. And we would always ask people to pop over and see it. It's a completely different way of life. They're really fishermen over there.
If you're going abroad by plane, boat, or the family car. If you're going abroad for pleasure or business. There's one essential thing to do before you go. Check the expiry date on your European Health Insurance card. You can renew it up to 6 months before it expires. Visit nhs.uk/healthcare abroad or call 0845 606 2030. Bon voyage!
You can follow me on Twitter @holiday_hut. With all the talk of Heathrow and Gatwick over the last few weeks, it's easy to forget there are other London airports. One of them has won an award. Find out which one it is at the end of the show in Travel News. At the moment I'm speaking to Sharon Bernstein from Grenada Tourism Authority, the UK office. We're finding out about the island as a destination, and we've covered about the entry requirements and the weather and the official language. Now we're going to find out a little bit more about the island in detail. The black sand, I guess, is from the volcanoes.
Correct, because we're a volcanic island, which is why we've got these wonderful mountains.
Any still active?
No. No.
That kills that one then. They're not active.
Absolutely. But you can go to some sulphur springs and cover yourself in wonderful sulphur mud, which is, a healing mud. We have wonderful crater lakes. In fact, our Grenada Rainforest Reserve sits approximately 1,700 feet above sea level, and it's just calming and beautiful, and people go there and do yoga and relax and have a wonderful time.
Would the sulphur mud make my hair grow back?
It may, who knows what special properties. I think they usually say that the nutmeg does wonderful things for that as well.
Okay, I'm still searching for the cure.
The cure.
I'm heavily into animals, and I love watching whales. Are whales around your island? And if so, what time of year?
I don't think we should promise any of that. Really, we're not. I mean, you may get the odd one, but really and truly, we have a few dolphins, but we've never sold ourselves on wildlife. We sell ourselves on all our positive aspects, and I don't think wildlife, other than birds, there's very good birding, but wildlife perhaps not so much.
I shall stick to bird watching then.
Yeah.
With all the mountains, I guess you've got some waterfalls. Are any ones worth going to?
Oh, we have absolutely stunning